Hello, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Benner, and this is my introduction. So, a little bit about me, who I am, where I am, what I do. Who I am a mother of two boys, 11 and 9. I've been married for 13 years, and I am an Anglophile pop culture enthusiast, tea drinker, and drama geek. Which basically means, if we want to capsulize my personality, I like to spend a lot of time drinking tea, quoting something that I have seen before, and often with an accent, usually British, hence the Anglophile. And when possible, I will run away to Scotland, but just not yet. I have kids, have to wait for them to graduate. So where I am, sadly, not Scotland. I am in Bow, New Hampshire, and which is right next to Concord, New Hampshire, which is about 20 minutes north of Manchester, New Hampshire, or as we Shire folk like to call it, Manch Vegas. And New Hampshire being considered a suburb of Boston, I also work in Boston. So I get to spend my time Monday through Thursday driving from Bow, New Hampshire to the Longwood Medical Center within Boston. Super fun. 4 hours a day at least in my car. So I spend a lot of time listening to audiobooks and podcasts. And if anyone has any suggestions, love to hear them. So what I do, I have been in the education realm for 19 years. I started off as a middle school teacher. It was language arts and social studies first, and then science, social studies, and then just science. And I was also science department chair until 2010 when I was teaching down in Georgia. And when the economy collapsed, the southern states were hit particularly hard, and there was a rash of layoffs. And there were 1,500 teachers who were laid off in the Atlanta area alone. And my district decided to lay people off based on their sign-in date. So I was laid off, and I took that as a sign to come back up to New England. And when I moved back, I had literally just completed my master's degree. So I had 10 years of experience and a master's degree, which I found out after I moved up here that even though most people don't want to teach science because of all the extra prep work, they also don't want to pay someone who has too much experience. So it was really hard to get back into the classroom. So I ended up becoming an instructional designer for a small college and transitioned to higher ed. And then I went from being an instructional designer to the director of online programming and instructional design for this college. And then I transitioned to Harvard Medical School. Specifically, I work for the postgraduate medical education group, which is out of the external education department. So that means that we basically work on trainings and education for people who are already working professionals. And my group, the postgraduate medical education group, that in particular focuses on the clinician. So doctors, nurses, physicians assistants, social workers, anyone who needs continuing education credits, we help to develop content for that. So I lead up a team, the Educational Technology, Media, and Design team, who supports across the external ed group anyone who needs educational technology support. So whether it's acquiring new interactive tools or audience response or anything like that, my group will help support that. We also do educational media. So if videos need to be created, interactives need to be built, that's my group or my team in particular. And then design work. So we do instructional design, online design, and sometimes graphic design. So there's a lot of that all rolled into my team. So what that means is we're a little bit of everywhere. And then most recently, I've also been invited to be an educator faculty in our Global Education's Trainers to Teachers program, which was really exciting because it gave me a chance to get back into the classroom because I really miss it. And so, and yes, going to conferences and talking at them is great, but it's not the same as being in the classroom. So when I was offered the opportunity to teach in our Trainers to Teachers program in Mongolia, I jumped at it. So last October, I got to go to Ulaanbaatar and teach clinicians how to teach. And so I went in October. I went back in May at the close of the program. And tomorrow I go to China to do the same thing. So it's kind of crazy and exciting. So from there, I'm going to jump straight into identifying with Bass's theories and models. I spent some time really thinking about how I behave in the office and what do I see as my leadership managerial tendencies. And as I was reviewing them, these are the three that I gravitated to the most. And I know we were really supposed to focus on one, and there is one that I think encapsulates me the most. But there's little bits of these three in particular that I closely aligned myself to. And so the first one is that charismatic transformational leadership, especially when I read about the description of this type of leader is energetic, active, determined, and expressive. And that kind of fits my personality, especially when I'm in the office, because since we do support across the departments, I am jumping from group to group, and I am sort of the whirlwind that goes from one area to another for one person to support to another, and the consummate problem solver. And I pretty much wear what I'm feeling on my face and on my sleeve. So I just felt like that really sort of encapsulated at least my personality. And then when I think about my overarching leadership within my team specifically, but also across the external ed department, the one that I align to the most, which I don't think is surprising because we all seem to have this similarity, is that servant steward leadership. I put in the steward one as well for me because in reading about it, the stewards are also, it's that balance across all parties. But specifically the servant, I mean, I'm here for my staff. Whenever they need me, I'm there. And, whenever someone has an issue or needs a problem to be solved, I will drop everything to help them. Even if that means that I now have extra stuff that I need to do later, I'm still there for them, because I think as educators, that's how we see ourselves. It's a calling to be there to help others and do whatever it is we can. And so that's where I feel that I align to. And I also spend a lot of my time focusing on empowering my staff. So when we need anything, when anything needs to happen, I work with them to say, hey, you're the expert in this, so you tell me what you need. You tell me what you think would be better, or give me an idea of how you think this should be designed or structured. Because they're all very talented and independent individuals who know how to come to me when they need something. And so I work really hard on helping them continue to grow and continue to know that they can speak out and they can share their thoughts and, bring those to the table. And I spend more of my time doing that than, being in the weeds. But I'm there if someone needs me. And then, of course, that whole idea of balancing the interests of all parties, because we support across the board. It's important that I make sure that we are supporting all the different groups across the board and that we're not over supporting one at the detriment of another one. So a lot of that is that balance, and I spend a fair amount of my time doing that. And then last but not least is the person situation. And I saw myself in that because I lean a bit on, so I joke with my team that I am the consummate actress, that I said, okay, depending on what situation, I said, what role do you need me in for this? And that's the role I will play. If you need me to be the heavy because this project is going off scope and they're not being responsive, I will jump in and do that. If you need me to just sit back and listen because you're taking the lead, I will do that. You tell me what I need to do for this and I will do it. And I'm very good at just going into across the different departments, whatever meeting or group that I'm a part of, I will adapt to what is needed and how I am needed. And then I also like to build strong relationships with everybody so that they know they can rely on me and that I'm a trustworthy person to communicate with. And so with that, I just want to say thank you for listening, and I'm excited to go on this journey with all of you, and have a great day.